Good evening and warm welcome to Power News, your window to the power sector. I'm Juhi Rajput. First of all, let me bring you the quick updates from the power sector. Former Union Coal Secretary PC Parekh said Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was responsible for the coal block allocation scam and the country's subsequent policy paralysis. He said so at an event while releasing his book titled Crusader or Conspirator, Coalgate and Other Truths. Parekh also said that the coal ministers Shibu Soren and Dasari Narayana Rao had reversed the Prime Minister's decision on auction of coal blocks. He further claimed that the Prime Minister did not speak then, and if the PM had persisted, Coalgate would not have happened. A special cell created in the Cabinet Secretariat headed by Anil Swarup to revive stalled investment projects has paved the way for laying of 3 critical railway lines in eastern India, more than a decade after the projects were conceived. The project monitoring group was set by the Prime Minister last year to track large investment projects. Once commissioned, the lines will transport more than 200 million tonnes of coal from mines spread over Odisha, Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand to power producers. Estimated to cost over Rs 6,700 crore, the lines will not only save crucial foreign exchange for the country by reducing dependence on coal imports, but also generate jobs and boost the local economy of the 3 states. A historic slump in power demand from bankrupt distribution utilities has dragged down spot prices at India Energy Exchange to the lowest ever in its 7-year history. Average prices crashed to Rs 2.80 per unit, lower than even the average tariff of Rs 2.92 per unit at which the country's largest and cheapest power producer, NTPC, supplies electricity under long-term power purchase agreements. Prices have declined sharply from Rs 7.4 per unit in 2008-09 to Rs 3.5 per unit in 2011-12 and Rs 2.80 per unit last fiscal. The country's electricity regulator's decision to compensate Tata Power for its higher cost has been challenged by Rajasthan and Punjab governments before the Appellate Tribunal for Electricity, while Maharashtra and Haryana are also expected to file their petitions soon. Gujarat, that will procure the highest 1,900 megawatts of power from Tata Power's 4,150 megawatt Mundra Ultra Mega Power project, is yet to make up its mind. Another power producer, Adani Power, is also facing similar challenge from Haryana for its 1,242 megawatt agreement, while Gujarat, that will procure 1,000 megawatt, has not taken call on this matter. And now the news of the week. A little over a month after the Central Electricity Regulatory Commission announced the new rate norms for 2014-19, the power industry is raising a pitch against these. The Association of Power Producers, which represents 29 large private generation companies, has made a detailed representation to CERC. Power producer claims that the final regulations had provisions not mentioned in the draft norms issued for discussion in December. This was a violation of Section 178 of the Electricity Act, requiring the regulator to conduct a public hearing on all provisions before finalizing it. The new electricity tariff order by the Central Power Regulator could weaken the margins of private developers and government-owned companies such as NTPC and NHPC. The Central Electricity Regulatory Commission released last month the final regulations that will determine tariffs for 2014-15 through to 2018-19.
42,000 megawatts is the capacity which is under generation of NTPC, largest producer today in the country. So when we talk about the margins being affected, obviously NTPC plants, some of the very old plants, even 32 years old, some are new plants. Now naturally you cannot expect all the plants to work at the same efficiency as the old plants, new plants, so you have to take an average. All along they have been getting on the basis of the delivered power, that means the availability factor of the plant. They have said that you will now get the incentive if actually power is delivered by you. That's a very fundamental change which has taken place. So naturally what is going to happen is that if the power is available, not taken, they will not get the benefit.
Companies expect that their earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation and amortization to decline 10 to 12% and net income to fall under the new tariff structure.
I was available for generation and was ready to produce that electron as and when demanded by the grid. I was eligible for a incentive. But today when it is moved out to actual generation, that means I will be eligible for a generation as and when grid requires the power and if such power is supplied at that time. My belief is After moving the availability factor to 90% and plant load factor to 85%, and whereas bringing down the coal availability to 70-80%, incentive payments may become a thing of the past, and perhaps no company can expect any incentive payments out of this new regulation.
One such provision is regarding the stage at which gross calorific value of coal is considered for calculation of the energy charge in the rate. Coal quality deteriorates between the time the fuel is received at the station and the time it is fed into the boiler. Company feels that this great slippage is a reality that should be taken into account to protect the developer's return on equity.
In the case of section 62, which is mostly on a memorandum of understanding route and a project route which is by approval of the tariff structures, etc., there was a pass-through mechanics available for all the central generating stations, including NTPC. This will severely affect them because this is going for a, instead of moving on to pass-through concept of the fuel, it will go on to the calorific value of averaging for the last 3 months. Similarly, the heat rates also have been reduced drastically. The heat rates reduction is not a right step, and I am afraid that many of the stations cannot achieve such heat rates, which has been now given by the regulator as a benchmark for tariff.
Another source of conflict is the tightening of station heat rate norms in the new regulations. SHR measures the efficiency of a power plant in converting the chemical energy of coal into electrical energy. A higher SHR signifies low efficiency.
Auxiliary consumption and the heat rate need correction. In fact, with the change in the load cycles and many industrial around the clock consumers switching over to the captive power plants, there is a variation in the demand. Backing down is a real and technical necessity, and under those circumstances, it is very difficult to meet the target of heat rate and the auxiliary consumption. Therefore, I can say that while fixing the parameters, there is a need to have a closer look at the nature of load, requirement of the backing down, and change in the technical parameters on account of such backing down.
A third bone of contention is regarding auxiliary consumption, the amount of power used to run a power plant, inversely linked to PLF. In the new norm, CERC has removed the power supply to housing colonies of power plant staff from the definition of auxiliary consumption.
Overall, they were, 16% return they were getting was more because they were already getting a tax benefit. Now they will get only the tax benefit when actually tax is paid by the NTPC. All these factors are going to affect NTPC in a big way because they are the largest producer. These factors that also affect also the other plants of the private sector people which are generating power. The point now is that all this money was being plowed back NTPC into the generation of the more capacity in the country. That will be affected, there is no doubt about it.
The industry is also contesting the regulator's move to link incentive payment to PLF, which measures actual generation as against plant availability factor, which measures the ability of a plant to generate. The complaint is that under the new norms, generators stand to lose when distribution companies renege on committed supply. Here we'll take a short break, but there is a lot more on the other side. Stay tuned.
Indian Energy Exchange, India's premier power trading platform.
From manufacturing of energy cables to EHV installations to renewable energy solutions to retail energy products, our technology energizes lives. Ravi, energizing lives.
भरोसा, हिफाजत, मजबूती, कौन हर कोने में समाया होगा, कौन हर रोज तुम्हारे भरोसे पर खरा उतरेगा। किसके साए में गुजरेगी तुम्हारी जिंदगी। एक नाम जो देता आया है भारत की हर इमारत को बुनियाद, अब उसी पे खड़ा होगा आपका मकान। जिंदल स्टील एंड पावर पेश करते हैं जिंदल पैंथर, सच्चे सरिये की पहचान, पैंथर का निशान।
मैं नहीं सोऊंगा, मेरे बेड के नीचे मॉन्स्टर है।
रोहन, मॉन्स्टर्स रियल नहीं होते।
होते हैं मॉम, वो रात को मुझे हु हु करके डराता है।
अच्छा, अगर डर लगे तो लाइट ऑन कर देना।
अंधेरे में स्विच कैसे ढूंढूं? अगर मॉन्स्टर ने मेरा हाथ खा लिया तो?
अभी सो जाओ, कल देखते हैं।
Switch on to Monster Gone. L&T switches, easy to locate in the dark. The only switch with a 12-year warranty.
Power Grid Corporation of India, the central transmission utility, world-class integrated global transmission company with dominant leadership in emerging power market, ensuring reliability, safety and economy. Power Grid, building a smarter grid.
Welcome back. Jindal Steel and Power, India's leading IPP, is redesigning its business strategy and shifting from merchant power sales that it pioneered and profited from to long-term contracts. JSPL is also betting big on hydropower and taking an investment holiday in 2014-15 to reduce debts of the company. To talk in detail on company's growth plan and strategy, we have with us Mr. Ravi Uppal, Managing Director and Group Chief Executive. Good evening, Mr. Uppal, and welcome to Power News. Mr. Uppal, first of all, I'd like to ask you, how have been the operational and financial performance of Jindal Steel and Power last year?
Well, we have just finished a financial year on 31st of March, and I can't tell you the numbers for how it went for the fourth quarter, but if you take the first 3 quarters, I think that we have done quite well. And both in the power as well as the steel sector, we have grown. We have been able to improve our price realizations. The year 2013-14 was indeed a very defining year for us, because this is the year in which we were commissioning many plants, and I'm happy to share with you that all the plants that we wanted to commission, we have been able to successfully commission, and therefore the year 14-15 looks to be a very exciting year for us. It's a year of harvest for us.
Mr. Uppal, JSPL is also in the process of redesigning its business strategy. Which are the major areas and business segment JSPL is exploring and planning to venture into?
Well, as of now, we have got 4 business segments, starting with the mines and minerals. We have the mines and mineral operations here in India as well as overseas. We have mines in Australia and in South Africa and a couple of other countries. The second business vertical is steel and cement. The third one is power, which so far has been power generation, but we're also looking into the possibility of getting into the distribution. And the fourth business segment is international operation, what we call as the global ventures. So under these 4 business segments, we have about 15 business units, and each one of the business units is basically a profit and loss account. Our basic idea has been to create independent P&L entities within the JSPL, and the BGU manager, he takes full responsibility. During the last 1 year, we have focused a lot on strengthening our corporate governance. Within the company, we have created a 3-layer the governance structure: strategic governance, portfolio governance, and unit level governance. And this has started to pay good dividend. You know that we are geographically very dispersed. We are in Odisha, we are in Chhattisgarh, we are in Madhya Pradesh. We are spread out. We are in Jharkhand, and outside we are present in 11 countries. So for us to have a strong governance structure was extremely vital.
Although companies have made good profit from merchant plant in the past, but with lowering power demand from state utilities and almost ₹3 per unit power rate in power exchange, merchant sales have become risky and unsteady. Is JSPL shifting its focus from merchant power sales that it pioneered and profited from to long-term power contracts?
Absolutely right. There was a time when the merchant market was very hot, and the rates were quite good. But we have seen over a period of time that the demand for the merchant power has reduced. Also for the reason that the transmission connectivity in the country is not very good. And secondly, the distribution companies are not in very good shape. So they are very reluctant to buy power at the market competitive rates or merchant rates. So this has seen a steady decline in the prices of merchant power. So keeping these trends in mind, and also governments have stressed that the private company should also operate through the power purchase agreements, we have decided to go for a mix under which we will have 80% power supplied under PPAs, and the balance 20% will be traded through the exchange or through bilateral agreements, or also enter into short-term agreements.
Due to uncertainty of coal supply for thermal plants, JSPL is betting big on hydropower projects. Which are the hydropower projects company has planned, and how much capacity is going to be added during 12th and 13th five-year plan?
This is true that we are looking at hydropower as a major option for future. We actually already have started our work on a mega project in northeastern part of the country in the state of Arunachal, which basically comprises 3 different units. It's a project number 1, which is called ETNOW. It's more than 3,000 megawatt. The second one is Atunli, which is 660 megawatt, and we have another 1,500 megawatt from a project called Kamla. They are basically in the same geographical area. So right now we're working, very hard on the ETNOW and Atunli project, and we have done the land acquisition. We are in the process of getting the forest and environment clearance, and parallelly, that we started the engineering work in full steam. So we hope to start the physical work at site by the end of 2015, and in the meantime, we will arrange all the clearances which are required for this.
JSPL is also eyeing electricity distribution business in partnership with a foreign firm and going for power purchase agreements with state utilities for a steady and predictable flow of income. Any recent update on this front?
Well, distribution is certainly of great interest to us. We believe that the distribution sector in this country requires professional players, and I think my personal view is that the private companies can play a big role in strengthening the distribution network and distribution systems, as has been seen from the case of Ahmedabad, Surat, Delhi, Mumbai and Kolkata. And I think in all these cities, the consumers are happy. We are not burdening the exchequer by making losses. I think this kind of thing has to be replicated in other cities and states. So we are among those who feel that private sector's participation in distribution is absolutely vital to restore the health of the distribution sector. It's in that space we think that we can also contribute, because JSPL has experience in the realm of distribution. And once the new government decides to move on with the privatization of distribution, they will not find us wanting to respond.
Lastly, I'd like to know that is JSPL also participating in ongoing coal block auctions?
Yes, like anybody else, we would also look at the possibility of going for the auction coal blocks. But how much interest we will take will depend as to what kind of coal blocks they are. If they match with our own plans, so we will decide accordingly.
Thanks, Mr. Uppal, for joining us on Power News. It's time for another short break. Keep watching Power News.
Indian Energy Exchange, India's premier power trading platform.
Jal, jal, jal.
जल से जल तक, मेगावाटर से मेगावाट्स तक, SJVN Limited.
Power Finance Corporation, the most preferred financial institution, providing affordable and competitive products and services with efficient and internationally integrated sourcing. PFC, partnering the reforms in the Indian power sector.
Welcome back. Today in Company Focus segment, we'll talk about Supreme. Established in 1970 as the fastest manufacturing unit, Supreme & Company has been exporting its products since 1975 and has since evolved into India's leading manufacturer and exporter of products for power transmission and distribution sector. Supreme has also been manufacturing and exporting products for construction, railways, telecom and engineering industries. Here is a report by correspondent Bharti Singh.
Supreme and Company started as a steel-based engineering unit in the year 1970 and since diversified into multi-product engineering unit to cater the global requirements of tower, hardware and accessories for power transmission and distribution lines.
We have a very large range to offer for transmission and distribution segment. On one hand, is products like insulator hardware, conductor accessories, polymer insulators, towers, fabricated structures, and we also are in the space of EPC contracting for rural electrification lines, substation construction, as well as fiber optic passive network installation.
Supreme is now a reputed player in the field of power transmission and distribution sector up to 1200 kV. The company also provides EPC and turnkey solutions for installation of OPGW and ADSS on electrical T&D lines, as well as complete solutions and services for energy management, GIS, GPS, fiber optics and distribution automation.
We are basically trying to enter more into solution space than expanding too much into new products. One of the most important new products that we are bringing to the market is polymer insulators. We are concentrating on insulators used in compact lines and emergency restoration towers, because that is an area which requires a lot of application based understanding and a lot of design validation and a lot of new type testing. Apart from that, we have installed a number of remote monitoring solutions for off-grid solar installations in India.
Supreme also provide complete engineering procurement and construction services for solar PV remote monitoring solutions, smart meter, advanced metering infrastructure and smart grid applications.
And we aim to provide a lot of smart grid solutions which will add to the ICT empowerment of distribution grids, which will facilitate integration of renewables, which will facilitate day of the time metering, which will facilitate net metering. And also we have come up with a lot of innovative compact line solutions.
Over the years, Supreme has developed numerous new products for specific needs of its customers. It has also developed a wide variety of compact line and line of rating solutions designed to address right of way issues.
Letter of intent from a company in Andhra Pradesh who needs to connect 6 km to complete a dedicated 132 kV line which they wanted to take through paddy fields but did not have the ROW. We have provided them a compact solution which will permit these lines to be taken through the narrow strip of pavement available for them for connecting the line. We have received the LOI, we will work on it. This is an entirely new development for us, and going forward we see many such challenges and many such opportunities which exist for us in coming future.
With this, we come to an end of this episode of Power News. Keep sending us your suggestions and views at info@indianpowernews.com or call us on 011 405 60706. I'll be back next week with more news and updates. Till then, goodbye and take care.